Hello and welcome back to my channel, A Delightful Life. My name is Delight, and today I wanted to talk about a breakthrough that I had early this morning. And I've struggled my whole life with being a people pleaser, with being unable to say no to anyone, with setting boundaries, and that was a major result of my childhood and the way I was raised. And I'm sure that a lot of you suffer from the same things that I did. Unfortunately, the way a lot of people are raised, they're taught that treating children a certain way is okay and normal, and it's really not the best way to do things. I realized that the major part of my problem with not being able to say no was because I was led to believe that saying no would hurt the person that I loved, that I cared about. And it was done in a multitude of ways. The biggest one that I was told about, this was a story that I was told by my primary caregiver for most of my life, from the time that I was very young, was that I was in the back seat of the car, and I stood up, and they told me to sit back down, and I said no, and they smacked me in the mouth, and it split my lip and made my lip bleed. And from that point on, I never said no again. Out of fear, I guess. That would be pretty traumatic to a child, to be bleeding suddenly. I guess I was like, 3-ish, maybe a little older. I'm not 100% sure how old exactly I was, but I was told that story from probably about 5 on, and I'm a big rule follower. I don't like getting in trouble, probably because of that incident. And it just always kind of sat there in my subconscious and fermented and caused me a lot of pain. But then, there's other instances of things that I know from when I got older that were part of the reason that I was unable to say no. And I'm sure that a lot of you have probably experienced these or seen people do this to children. But the biggest one for me was being basically gaslit when if an adult would ask me for a hug or a kiss or to come see them or any of those things, and if I said no, they would pretend to cry and say that I hurt their feelings and I didn't love them, until I would give in and go do the thing that they wanted that I didn't want to do. I was not a big people person when I was a child. I didn't like to talk to anyone. I didn't like to be around them. I don't know if it was because my parents got divorced when I was very young. I think 3, maybe. It was young enough that I don't actually remember it happening. I just remember the aftermath of it. I was told, and I'm trying to heal from all of these things, so I will not identify which parent was the perpetrator and which parent was which I found out, the victim of being lied about. I will just identify them as my primary caregiver. That was the person that ended up having custody of me, and my other parent was the one who was forced out of my life. So I was told my whole life from about 5 that the parent who was forced out of my life was, that they didn't love me, that they abandoned me, that they, had wanted to have nothing to do with me, that they gave me away when I was born, or try. I was told that they gave me to my grandmother because she said that she wanted me, and that they, said that she could have me because they didn't want me. And I was told this from the time I was 5 until, well, I stopped talking to that person who told me all of those things, who was my primary caregiver, which was only not even a year ago. So I was told that they didn't love me, which was not true. Once I finally got hold of that, my other parent who was forced out of my life, and I talked to them, and it turned out that none of those things were true, and my primary caregiver was still trying to enforce that they were lying to me, that they were not telling the truth, that they were the one who was right. But it turned out that the person who was forced out of my life, it was done so because they truly loved me and cared about me, and I was basically that, one of the happiest things in their life. So I know that my primary caregiver is an incredibly jealous person, and that has been a defining factor in my people pleasing, and the fact that I can't say no. A lot of the things that were done to me because of the way that they acted and their own personal whatever they had going on, it was, just very detrimental to me as a child and now as an adult, that I have almost no ability to say no or put myself first. It's hard to talk about. It's hard to understand why somebody would do that to a child. But these are the things that I've been working through. And I realized that there had to be some pain and hurt in that person's life to make it okay to do that to their child. To make them believe that their child was put on this earth to care for them. And I'm here to tell you that you are not. You were not put on this earth to care for your parents. That is not love. Not to be forced into it. If you want to care for somebody, by all means do it. But know that you are not required to care for anyone. You are a strong and worthy individual, and you deserve to have a good life without the belief that you have to take care of anybody but yourself. You should always put yourself first. I say should, and that's the wrong word for me to use, but just know that you can always put yourself first. And it is in your best interest to put yourself first. Nobody has the right to require you to take care of them. It's actually the other way around. The parent is the one who should be, or, has the responsibility, there's a better word, of taking care of their child. And if they have an issue in their life that makes it hard or impossible for them to do that, they need to get help. And unfortunately, because of the way I was raised, I also did not have the ability to be the best parent that I could have been to my own children, which I have been working on, and I have apologized to them for not doing that, and been working on fixing myself, because that's all I can do. I can't change the past. I can't go back and fix anything. All I can do is make things better from right now. And that's why I'm working on forgiveness, and, I'm trying to understand why that person didn't have the capability of giving me what I needed as a child. And I use crystals to help me heal. And I am here to try to help you heal the wounds that you may have, and use crystals to do it. And in healing these wounds, it actually helps, it hurts to do it, to bring these things back up. And it also helps with erasing all of the things that we were taught that don't serve us anymore. And that's the basis of the law of attraction, which, I used to live paycheck to paycheck. I used to have just about nothing. And it was because of those beliefs that I wasn't worthy, that everybody else was better than me, that I couldn't disappoint anyone, that I needed their love, to survive, and I did not. I needed my love. That's all. So once I came to that conclusion this morning, it was another breakthrough that I had, that I have a hard time saying no to people because I don't put myself first, and I fear losing love. But all I need is mine, and I can never lose mine. Now that I have it, I didn't have it before, and that was a real big struggle for me. Not having my own love. I hated myself. I hated everybody else in the world. It was just not a good situation. So my point of doing this video was to help anyone who is still struggling like I have, to understand that you do not have to you don't have to be there for anyone, to be honest, but yourself. When we feel that we need to be there for somebody, that we absolutely should, and I don't like that particular word, that we should be there for somebody, and they make us feel like we are responsible for their happiness, that we are responsible for their life, that causes us to become resentful of people. And that's not a good way to live. It causes our hearts to close to that person. Because when you're forced to do anything, it doesn't feel good. And the point of loving somebody is to feel good. It's why we want to take care of our children, and in people who have a wound that has been caused by their parenting, which was in turn caused by their parenting, which was in turn, it just goes on and on forever until you break that cycle. But when we're raised by somebody who has that wound that they have not healed, then they pass it on to us. And the only way to stop it, so that we can give our children the love that they need, is to heal it, to recognize it and heal it, and not let it continue, to break that curse, to break that generational incident, whatever happened. We can't fix that person. You can send them love, and you don't have to be a part of their life to do that. It's not a requirement. We're told from childhood, and sometimes I think it's because they know in their heart that they're not doing the right thing. But we're told that you have to love your parents. It's a requirement, you have to love them. Here they take care of you and blah, blah, blah. You don't have to do anything. You can if you want to, but it's not a requirement. I know that the Bible says that we should love our parents. And you can. I still have love for the parent who hurt me. I will always have love for them. I do not have to deal with their toxic behavior. That wasn't in the Bible. It just wasn't. You don't have to deal with anybody's toxic behavior. You can send them love. And setting boundaries is how you can send them love and still not have to deal with them. And I did set boundaries with this person. And they decided that my boundaries were not in their best interest. So, the way that I dealt with that is I told them that until they were ready to heal themselves and get better, that I'm not going to be a part of their situation anymore. I am done. I'm done taking care of them. I am done being, mentally and emotionally abused by them. And I chose to go no contact, and that's okay. I did that for me, and that is okay. You can choose what is right for you. And that's the best way to honor yourself. To do the things that put you first. Because I'm going to tell you the honest truth. You cannot love anybody until you love yourself. And I know everybody doesn't want to hear that. Nobody wants to hear that. Because it's hard to love yourself. It's hard to erase all of the things that you've been told your whole life. It's hard to take away the protection that you've always had, which was doing for others so that you get your needs met, and put your needs first and get them met yourself. It's hard. I know that. So, the crystals that I'm going to suggest today are going to help you set boundaries and they're going to help you in the different ways. I'm pulling my crystals out of my box. um, they're going to help you in the different ways that you are probably struggling. I know that I struggled to set boundaries. The things that I needed to address before I could set boundaries, and the crystals in my life have created all of these breakthroughs that I am telling you about, and I'm hoping that they can help you get to these breakthroughs yourself, because they are absolutely amazing. It's just, I never thought that I would get here where I am, and it's been almost 3 years that I have been working on myself. I've done, read a lot of books, and I've never gone to therapy because I couldn't find a therapist that I felt didn't put me back into victim mode, which is, you can't heal while you're in victim mode. And I oscillate back and forth between feeling like talking about what happened to me is being a victim, and just knowing that coming out and talking about things that happened to me might help somebody else. So that's where I stand. And I go back and forth, and I will talk about it. And like I said, I feel better not identifying the person, because, that's not going to help me. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help them. I don't want to demonize anybody. That was the narcissistic thing that my family used to do, and I'm not into that anymore. So the very first thing that I feel is important to setting a boundary, to keeping a boundary, and having the strength to hold on to your boundaries is self-love. And self-love is hard. When we don't love ourselves, we don't feel confident, and we don't feel like we deserve anything, and we don't feel like, we matter, and we don't feel like we're enough. So we hold on to people pleasing and doing for others and putting somebody else first always, because we don't feel like we matter or we deserve things that we should get or want or need. And so when toxic people are around us, they recognize that, and it's a big thing for empaths especially. We become empaths as children because we need to take on the emotions of others in the hopes of mirroring ourselves to them, and we mirror them to hopefully get what we need to attempt to make them love us, to draw out whatever we need to draw out to get their attention, to get their love. So that's what we do to ourselves. And when we're around toxic people, our boundaries can get very blurred. They can become non-existent. My caregiver had a nickname for me that I absolutely hated, and it used to embarrass the heck out of me, especially when I was a child. But I was, they liked it. That's what I was told. They liked it, and so I just had to deal with it. Well, when I turned 16, at my 16th birthday party, they would call me this name, and then I would get made fun of at school, because the people who were there at my party, they would go back to school and start calling me that, And I don't know if they intended to embarrass me, but because I hated that name, and I hated being called it, I felt embarrassed, and I saw it as an attempt to embarrass me, because I had been made fun of my whole life, and, I didn't understand that sometimes people just did things because they thought it was cute. So I asked this person, my primary caregiver, to please not call me that anymore. And they said, I like calling you that. It makes me happy. Which basically, as a child, told me, it doesn't matter what you want. It only matters what I want. And if it makes me happy, then I'm going to do it, even if it doesn't make you happy. And a lot of us as children get taught these things. And, it's not right. That is a boundary. And you have every right to set one. You have every right to not want to be called something that doesn't make you happy. You have every right to be respected enough to say, this is what I want, and this is what I don't want, and have that happen. Or at least be respected enough, to have, them say, I understand, and I'll try my best to not do it anymore. That was all I was really looking for was, I get that, you're getting older and you don't want to be called a name that sounds childish, and, I'll try my best to not call you that anymore. Is there something that you would like me to call you better? Or, that was what I was looking for. And that's what we look for as a child. That's why we set boundaries or say no to people, because we want our desires to be understood and heard and validated. And we have the right to have that happen. Just because we're a child doesn't mean that an adult can just walk all over us. And unfortunately, a lot of adults they had that done to them. And it's sad, but it doesn't give them the right to do it to us. So there has to be an end somewhere, and it won't stop until it stops with you. So here are my best crystals for self-love. My number one is rose quartz. Rose quartz has an amazing, loving, caring, beautiful energy. It is actually one of these stones that I wear in my ear, my little rose quartz heart there. So I always have a piece of rose quartz with me, because I do struggle with self-love a lot. And it just helps keep me remembering that I am worthy, that I am enough, and that I deserve my love more than anybody. And then my second is, this one is, was a bit unknown to me, but it is Amazonite. And Amazonite is a lovely, like, turquoise blue color, and it has a little flash to it, and it also has a very gentle, beautiful energy, and it helps remember that there is beauty in you, and it brings out the joy in your heart. Where the rose quartz is going to activate the heart chakra, Amazonite works both heart and throat. And with self-love, we need to activate both of those, because you can't speak your truth until you can speak. And healing your throat chakra and your heart chakra helps you align with your absolute truth. So those are the two that I recommend for a self-love duo, and I chose one that is well known, super well known, and one that is not so well known. I just like to roll that way. And then strength. Strength is incredibly important in asserting a boundary, setting a boundary, and being true to yourself, asking for your needs, saying no, and sticking to it. All of those things require great strength. And when you have been gaslit, when you have been told that your needs don't matter, when you have been treated like lesser than, like you are lesser than, strength is absolutely what you need. And so I picked these because they give me the most strength. And I've told the story about my first crystal from childhood being tiger's eye. And now I understand why the universe sent that crystal to me, why I picked that one. Because at that time I needed strength, and I needed to know that I was strong. And I didn't at that time. I didn't understand it. But tiger's eye has always been my go-to for strength. And this one helps work on the lower chakras, and that's where we have our strength. This one's especially good for the solar plexus and the sacral chakra. And that's where your strength comes from. That's where you're grounded, where you're rooted in your power. Your solar plexus is where your self-esteem comes from, which is another thing that you need to set a boundary and keep that boundary, to say no and mean no and keep your no, to ask for what you want and believe that you deserve it. And it is hard. It's very hard. Especially when you've been trained that if you do any of those things to the contrary, that you don't love the person that you are talking to or being around. And that's really hard. It's tough to be told that you don't love somebody when you do. And then my second is smoky quartz. I need to get some bigger smoky quartz. These are on my gridding little chunks of smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is both helps power. It helps the base chakra, strengthen that, and that keeps you grounded and rooted in reality and rooted in yourself. You just, to have and keep boundaries, you have to have that strength in yourself. It's just very important to know that you are worthy of everything that you want, and you can get it. And when you get it, you deserve it. Alright, and then the next thing that's important when you're working on boundaries is protecting yourself. And I have a separate video about dealing with negativity and psychic attacks and things like that. And these would go right along with that. When you are dealing with toxic people who feel they're entitled to you taking care of them, you need protection from their toxic energy, from their, lack of ability to see themselves as important to themselves. That's why they come after you. That's why they expect you to take care of them. It's why they can't honor yourself. They can't separate themselves from you. And they feel it's necessary to break you down and steal your power to take care of themselves, because they don't know how to take care of themselves, which is very sad, and it's why they need love more than hate. I don't hate the person who did those things to me. I love them and I understand. Again, I just don't have the strength at the moment to fend off their toxic behavior. When they come to me, I fold. I have not worked enough in being strong in myself. I just started this journey, so I still have a lot of work to do. And it's okay to admit that you don't have the ability yet to deal with them, and keep yourself. And until I can do that, that person will remain out of contact with me. It's just how it is. I love myself enough to put myself first, no matter who it is. It's how it's going to be now. I choose me. I choose me every time now. So, to protect yourself from their energy, to be able to put yourself first, the two crystals that I chose are garnet. Garnet helps strengthen your resolve. It helps bring you to power in yourself. It protects, it helps strengthen your root chakra. It is a very good stone for the root chakra. It keeps you grounded, it keeps you strong. So it helps you build protection for yourself. And then my second one is amethyst. An amethyst is a go-to for many things. It helps keep our personal power very strong, and it also helps, I have a few pieces, but they're too big to hold all of them at the same time. It's one of my favorites. I love amethyst. That one's down there now. Amethyst is just an amazing energy. It's very gentle, but it's also very powerful. And you can really bring back your power. It is good for your third eye chakra, so it helps open your eyes to things that are going on around you, and it will help you with breakthroughs. It's also very good at helping you break addictions. And to be honest, people pleasing is an addiction. It kept us safe, and addictions, people think that they are a sign of weakness, but really we are addicted to things that help us. They don't help us in a good way, but they, people drink to drown their problems. I overate to drown my problems, because when we do things that we enjoy, we get a rush of dopamine. And dopamine is addictive because it is giving us the love that we were searching for. That's what, when you hug somebody, when you love somebody, that's what you feel inside. It's dopamine. And people pleasing kept us safe at one point, so it being safe brought a burst of dopamine that we wanted to feel love. And since we have that struggle of, I know, asking for the love that we need, and since clearly we didn't love ourselves, yeah, it's an addiction. So amethyst is an incredible addiction breaker and protects you from the result of that addiction. It will help protect you from feeling the need to be around that toxic person. There are just so many different benefits of all of these crystals that I mentioned. These are fairly easy to acquire. They're not very expensive, so I went with things that were, easy to get, easy to find, so that you can get as many of them as you can or need, or what you feel drawn to, what resonates with you. There are more. This is by no means an exhausted list. I will, as I go through different crystals, because I will be touching on each one individually, telling all of their meanings. As I add to my crystal videos, I will try to link in the description box more links to videos, and I'll probably end up building different video lists or playlists that will correspond with the different things that I talk about, so I can group them all together. So what you can do to make the get the best out of these, to use them for this purpose, to help you say no, to help you set boundaries, to help you put yourself first. The best ways to do that is you can meditate with them. That is, while you're meditating, hold the crystal in your hand and just set an intention that you are trying to bring up the best ways to heal. You can see that, or you can envision the crystal's energy healing you and protecting you while you're meditating. You can meditate on having the things that you've buried come up. There's so many different ways, and I'm going to make meditations based on healing these, and I will always add crystals to the meditations and suggest crystals. If I find a lot of crystals by intuition, and then when I end up looking up their properties, I realize that they were exactly the crystal I need. So go with your heart, trust yourself, and I know trusting yourself is difficult when you have been gaslit your whole life, when you have been relied on to care for others. It's definitely something I work on. But, set an intention that you are going to trust yourself. It's just, another way to benefit from the crystals is to set them around your home. I have crystals that I set by my bed. I have crystals that I have on my desk where I work every day. So, keep them near you. Feel which ones will help you in that different time. And, just keep them with you. You can also make jewelry out of them and wear them, wear them as jewelry. And just keep them on your being. Put one in your pocket, put one in your purse, keep them in your car, everywhere. Crystals are good. One thing to keep in mind is that this is all a process, and crystals are going to help you heal. There are still going to be people who react negatively to you setting boundaries because, to be honest, they were used to you taking care of them and they don't want to change that. And They benefited from your lack of boundaries. They benefited from your low self-esteem, from your lack of self, from, you putting everyone else first. And they're not going to like it. It's not going to be a thing for them. And they may come, at you with negativity. They may stop talking to you. And the most important thing is to realize that those people don't deserve to be in your life. You deserve better. And it will hurt. And it will be hard. Especially if it's a parent. And if they have taught you to feel guilty about, saying no to them, which mine did, it's going to be hard. Once you start changing your behavior, once you start putting yourself first, once you start making yourself the most important person in your life, you're going to lose friends. You're going to lose family. You're going to lose a lot of people. You have to decide. Only you can decide which is more important to you. Feeling good or making other people happy. And it's not a decision I can make for you. I can give you the tools that you need to change. I cannot change you. I cannot change anyone. That is why the person who hurt me is not somebody that I talk to anymore, because they were not able to see that I was worthy of my love. And that I didn't need their love to feel worthy. And that's a hard pill to swallow for some people. And also that I was not responsible for their happiness or for taking care of them. So these are all things that you're going to go through, that you're going to bring up. And I will try to keep making videos to help strengthen your resolve, to help you to help show you that you can do this, and that you can create a completely better life for yourself. Once you stop being the victim and feeling that, everything is happening to you, you see that you find the strength that these things actually happened for you. I would never change my life. I used to want a time machine so I could go back in time and change everything. But I realized that I was given gifts that the pain brought out in me, and I would not give those back for the world. So I'm going to do a giveaway. I want somebody to have this. I wrapped this rose quartz cabochon, and there's the back. And when I was wrapping it, I had the intention of great love for the self, and I even tried to make this little wrapped part up here look like a heart. And so I set it with the intention, and I infused it with Reiki while I was wrapping it, that whoever has this can find the love in themselves that they're looking for. So this is what I will be giving away on this video. And to enter the giveaway, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment and let me know how you're doing on your journey. What do you struggle with? What is something that you feel like you need to work on? And if you are okay with setting boundaries and loving yourself, just let me know how you're doing. And good luck to everybody. I wish you well on your journey, and I will see you next time. Take care.